Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of sonography. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you have been around for a little while, thank you so much for returning. And let's go ahead and hop on into this video. Okay, so my first pro for being a sonographer is the fact that you get to help people. My entire life, I've always enjoyed helping people, taking care of people. And so for me, that is what I'm passionate about, and that is a huge pro for me as far as being in the sonography field. All right, so the next pro, which this one's probably a huge one for everyone, is the fact that you can become a sonographer in as little as 2 years. Once you get accepted, once applicants get accepted into the program, it usually takes about 15 months. So it's relatively quick schooling. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it is very intense. However, it's very quick. So 2 years, you have a degree, and you're gonna make pretty decent money. So that leads me into the next advantage of being a sonographer. As a sonographer, there is potential to make really, really good money. Most people starting off will make about right around $30 an hour. In fact, in my next video, I will be telling y'all what my first paycheck as a sonographer right out of school was. So stick around for that. So yes, as a new sonographer, right out into the career field, you can expect to make a pretty impressive paycheck. Now, as you are more experienced in the field and the more licensing you get, obviously your pay will rise accordingly. When you take your registries, each registry takes about 3 hours. It depends on how well you study and how well you understand the material is how long it's going to take you to be prepared for those registries. But like I was saying, with each registry you get, the more money you can expect to make, especially with the experience. Another pro to being in the sonography field is that it's a field that's not going anywhere. In fact, they're still expecting a large growth in sonography as far as jobs are concerned, because the technology is ever changing and going forward. You can expect that security of having a job is gonna be there. So that is a plus. So now that I've said all the pros that I can think of, and I do apologize, I'm using my phone for notes. I write them down on my phone when they come across my brain. But anyhow, so now that we've done with that, I will move on into the cons. Okay, so my very first con, and this one's a pretty big one, is the fact that if most major employers are usually hospitals, so if you're not working in a clinic, you're likely working in a hospital, meaning that they are open 24/7, which means they're always gonna need somebody. So your hours can range. They can be very long days, or you could work overnight, you could work weekends and holidays, and for some people, that would be a turnoff for them. For me, it doesn't bother me at all, meaning everybody's got to put in their time. And once you're more seasoned and you've been working in a hospital for a while, the likelihood of you working those night shifts or those weekends or holidays, they decrease, because you're going to have newer sonographers. However, as a sonographer, you usually work as a team within the hospital, so you try to look out for each other. If somebody, let's say somebody on your team has worked every Christmas and now they want Christmas off, you might be able to pick up that shift for them. With that being said, and this is kind of a pro and con, is you make a little more money. You have the differential pay when you work certain days or nights. So depending on how big that is for you, and if you have a family, you might want to take that into account when looking for a sonography job. Okay. So another disadvantage of being a sonographer is the fact that you may need to be in pretty decent shape. And I say pretty decent shape because you will be positioning patients, lifting things, and the biggest thing is that you're going to be standing for long periods of time, which For that, I would suggest getting some compression socks. I like to order mine through Amazon. They're pretty cheap and they work really well for me. I'll go ahead and link them down below in the comments. Also too, you might want to find a nice pair of shoes that can withstand being stood in for a very long time. Me, I personally just switched from my Nikes because at the end of the day my feet were killing me. So I went and got a pair of Dansko. They were rather pricey. I think I paid like $135 for them, but they've been a game changer for me. I actually can come home after work and my feet not hurt, and I will also link them down below as well. But yes, so it can be physically demanding being a sonographer, and being in good shape would be most helpful. So that could be a con in your perspective. Now this ties into the prior disadvantage of being a sonographer. This one is the fact that you are more susceptible to injury based on the physical duties performed. If you're not using the proper ergonomics, you can definitely have wrist injuries, shoulder injuries, back injuries, and other things. So you definitely want to use proper ergonomics so that way you're not susceptible to these injuries. And now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you one of the biggest cons for me is the fact that I do work in a hospital, so I am around a lot of sick people. With that being said, I am more at risk for catching or contracting a disease that another patient has, meaning as a sonographer, I don't necessarily deal with needles, but we do deal with bodily fluids, especially like when we drain ascites or pleural effusion, we drain the fluid off the patients. You are also you can also be in contact with open wounds if you're doing vascular, all kinds of stuff. So you definitely are at risk there. Now, some of the risks that you probably don't think about are things like C. diff. Now they do, C. diff and tuberculosis, if they are a patient who is in quarantine, basically, they will have signs on the door so you can wear the proper PPE before entering that room. So that is a plus there. But there are other things like, and this really skeeves me out. So there are other things like bed bugs or scabies or lice that you can also come in contact with, and you don't want any of those. I would suggest bringing a change of clothes, especially if you come across one of those patients. So that way when you come home, you're not bringing that into your house. So that could definitely be a disadvantage. And for me, that's probably the biggest one of all. Okay. So now to, as I was going through this video and doing all of my cons and everything, a good one for a pro, now it could be a con, did cross my mind and I didn't want to leave that out. I had a few people ask me what exactly PRN is, and basically it means that you're on call or as needed. So you could either, depending on, like I work for 2 different hospitals. One of them, basically, if somebody needs me to cover their shift for them, they'll call me. It rarely happens that way, but not to say it doesn't happen. Another thing that means that I'm on call. So at least twice a week, I am on call, meaning I might not go in that night, but 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get called in the middle of the night. So basically, I'm doing what other people don't want to do because they want to be home at night and not being on call. Now, at another hospital, PRN means that I do have specific shifts, but I'm also on call for other hospitals as needed. And for some people, that might be a con, and it might be a pro for some. For me, it's a bonus, and I say that because it gives me that little extra money just to have in my pocket. Not only that, it also allows me to have a little time to spend with my family. It also gives me that extra time to work my business and do YouTube videos. I make YouTube videos usually on my off days. I try to make them on Sundays mostly, so that way during the week I can spend time with my family, but it doesn't always work out that way for me. So on my off days, I do enjoy making videos. But I also, like I said, I work my business. I have a CBD business on the side. It brings in quite a bit of extra money for me. I use the product, so I swear by it. So it's not like I'm just selling it to sell it. I am in the business to help people. So, like I said, PRN can definitely be a positive versus a negative. It just depends on what your family needs and how you look at it. So I hope that all my pros and cons help give you a better insight on the field of sonography and to decide if it is something that you want to do. Like I mentioned, I will go ahead and put my compression sock links down in the comments along with my shoes, and I hope this video was helpful. But yes, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and stay tuned for my next video, which, like I said, will be my first paycheck as a sonographer. Love you guys.